You know what I want to teach is not normal Bible study. I want to tell you the stories of God. I want to tell you the secrets of creation, the code of existence. Because life does not begin in the beginning. Life was before the beginning. And when the beginning ends, life continues. So the journey into God is an eternal reality. Hi. Elianda Franase, Boronde Zavakida, Barakida. You know, Christians don't understand the privilege they have. Because in Christ we have a way back into Him that was. Him that dwells before time began. That's the journey of existence. The journey of existence is not from Kubwa to Aso Rock. The journey of existence is from time to eternity. When you touch God and you bring God back to your realm. You know, Adam did not understand the significance of this journey that he was enjoying in Eden. Adam came to a point where he thought the value of life was in things. So he began to appreciate apples. He didn't know that when God opens up his oracles, everything that will ever be is contained there. So he began to look at things and he began to admire things. And a point came, he forgot. He forgot the journey that he was engaging on in Genesis 3 verse 8. He forgot that that was the foundation of all things. His ability to enter into God, to stay there, to look upon God, to download God and to communicate God. He forgot that that syllabus was the making process of Elohim, to bring him to a point where he becomes exactly like him in essence and in verity. All of a sudden, he began to desire other things. And suddenly, the serpent came into the garden and he recognized the serpent. And the serpent told him, there is another way apart from the way of God. There's another channel you can achieve what you are laboring to achieve. There's another way of becoming like God. This route you are taking is too long. Come, let me show you another route. And introduce the code of rebellion into creation. And the man fell. When he fell, the garden was still there, but he had lost reality. Because it was not about the garden. It was about his intercourse with God. And the first thing that happened to him was that he was cast out of the garden. He no longer had the opportunity to look upon God. He no longer had the privilege to interact with God. He no longer had the powers to control and to regulate the garden because he had violated. A new government had been introduced that is contrary to the government of God. And when the angels showed up, the angels before that were his partners in dominion, they now showed up and suddenly they saw it, they saw moving on every side. The sword was not there before, but all of a sudden the sword appeared because the journey into God had been stopped. And the man was cast from the garden. Since you desire other things, go and seek them. When you are done seeking them, you will discover that all things is vanity. Apart from Elohim, everything you have is vanity. Meanwhile, man will never understand this. Have you not noticed that when you have what you are looking for desperately, all of a sudden it loses value? The moment it enters your hand, it loses value. Because nothing has value until it is captured in God. If it is not captured in God, the verdict has already been passed. It said it is vanity upon vanity. All amounts to vanity. The only place you can look upon reality and continually admire it is in God. The man did not realize it. So he left God and he was on the journey of pursuit of things. So when he finds one, he loses value. He dumps it, he looks for another. When he finds it, he loses value. The point comes, what is this? He now discovered that path apart from God is the path of death. Every time God is no longer in view, you are taking the journey of death. And that is why nothing satisfies again. Because the essence of man was designed to be satisfied by the continual infilling of God. So when you are born again, he said, that is born of God overcometh the world. When a man is born of God, he turns away from the journey of vanity. That part which is a departure from God, he turns away from it and he comes back to focus. He begins to seek Elohim again. He said, whoever is born of God overcometh the world. The word is the word cosmos. What it means is institution. It means government. It means administration. Every protocol that is set in place that provokes a departure from the present. He said, when you are born again, you begin to live above that protocol. All of a sudden, you come back to that point again where intercourse is reestablished. Now, if you enter into God, you will discover there are three realities that governs the civilization of God. The first reality that governs the civilization of God is the will of God. The second reality that governs the civilization of God is the wisdom of God. The third reality that governs the civilization of God are the purposes of God. This is why your prayer can't change the will of God. Because the will of God existed before you started praying. So your praying is correct when you align with the will of God. Because that reality, it existed before all things. In fact, civilization emanated from that reality. That's why when you do things in your own way, God doesn't hallow it. Before you do anything, He shows you how to do it. Because it's not just about doing it, it's about how it is done. It must be consistent with the wisdom of God for the blessings of God to come upon it. You know, when I was much younger, I thought ministry was about gifts. I was a mighty orator, so I gathered my friends and I told them something is about to happen. And after talking to them for 2 weeks, I now started the program. And when I started the program, I spoke to over 100 people. Only 12 of my friends came. And those who came to sympathize with me because they knew it was a failure. And I now realize there's a strategy beyond human intelligence to bring administration to the purposes of God. If it is not consistent with the will of God, the blessings of God will not rest. I now went back to God, and God told me, be here praying. And I prayed here for over 10 years. When I finished praying, that oracle came out of himself. You know, God is strange. Have you contemplated for a second that before the beginning God was? Where was God? Before the spirit realm was created, where was God? That means God lived in himself. So God is the house of God, and God is God. Now, attempt for a second to imagine God. You will see how futile your brain is. You will discover this tool called your brain in matters of ordination is weak. So you will seek him day and night. Because until that wisdom crystallizes, your brain can't travel too far. He said, pray for long. I was praying, I thought I was wasting time. Meanwhile, that was consistent to my own motivation. Pray! And after I prayed for a long time, he came out from where he dwelt outside time. And he looked upon me. He gave me one instruction. And what happened to me in 3 months was superior to everything that would have happened in 10 years. I now discovered the wisdom of God is superior to human's intelligence. So in the civilization of God, there's the wisdom of God. And in the civilization of God, there are the purposes of God. So your life will not count until you live according to that divine purpose that necessitated your creation. You know, when John went to Zion, he interacted with the 24 elders. Now, these are the beings of wisdom and highest authority in heaven because they are closest to God in proximity to the throne. And when he saw the elders worshiping, the only thing the elders were saying was, holy, holy, holy is the Lord. And then they saw other beasts that were there, and he said they worship day and night forever and ever. And the only thing they were saying is, all things were created for your pleasure. That was when John realized the value of life is not in its longevity. The value of life is in the degree that it gives pleasure to God. Because all things were created for thy pleasure. So when you fulfill purpose, you give pleasure to God. That's why fulfilling purpose becomes an act of worship. But if you don't go to Zion, you won't find it. Because that is not written anywhere in time. You may be on earth and you are laboring because you think the goal is to become something in time. If it is apart from God, it becomes a problem. But if it is in God, it becomes a weapon for kingdom advancement. That's the power of the purposes of God. All of these were locked in God. And these were the things God was teaching Adam. But Adam violated it. So when Adam departed, like Lucifer, that fell from the throne of heaven, Adam also became oblivious in understanding of what the will of God is. Adam became depraved in wisdom. So much so that Adam went to cover himself with fig leaves. You can't please the spirit with vegetable. The only thing that pleases the spirit is blood. So when God came, he looked at Adam. Before now, everything you did was correct. Because he named all the animals, and the name he called the animals was the name that was the archive of heaven. Why all of a sudden you now take an action that is wrong? They have been cut off from the wisdom of God. So God had to come quickly and kill an animal and cover him with the skin of the animal. Because if God doesn't see blood, he will kill him. But Adam had fallen from wisdom. And they taught him, Adam no longer understood purpose. The reason for his existence, he forgot it. And Adam began to struggle to survive. He now thought that life was about survival. Meanwhile, it was never written in the blueprint of Zion that life was about survival. Life was about pleasing God. The moment life becomes about survival, death has entered. Adam had departed from the purposes of God. The reason is because a new government had been established. So when John went back to Zion, you know, there are few men that went to before the beginning. It was Moses that wrote Genesis chapter 1 and said in the beginning, God. The second person that spoke about the beginning was John. He said that which was from the beginning. They traveled very far outside time. And when John went and checked, he now came back and said, whoever is born of God. The sign that is born of God, the sign that the protocol of eternal life has been activated is that he overcomes the world. He has the power over the administration of the world system. He has the power over the enticing implications that the devil litters upon the landscape. He overcomes the world. So a man who has not overcome the world has not learned the secret of existence.